Good evening. This is Simmion, coming to you from the outer reaches of the universe, bringing you energies to support your day and to take you further into the world of your Creator. As we listen to the questions that come from each person, it's clear that we have to go back and decipher a little bit of the confusion that happens in people's minds. The condition of each being is totally dependent on the field that surrounds that being. It has nothing to do with thought, has nothing to do with what causes what, and it has nothing to do with how do I fix it. If you elevate your being, your thought patterns disappear. If you elevate your thought patterns, your being disappears. As your being disappears, the thought patterns control the devastation of your body. As you realize that this is the case, you attempt to find a solution. In reality, there is no solution because there's nothing wrong. But in the real terms of where you have taken yourself, everything is wrong. And so you look for a diagnosis, and you think that a diagnosis will solve all your problems. In fact, it locks you in to a fictitious set of circumstances that become real. So real that your body can shut down in any way, shape or form that your thought touches. You only have to see a report of the assessed condition of your body, and you amplify it and make it real. So now that we've gone into the whole degrading circumstance that everybody's listening to and living right now, we can easily say that doesn't work. And I don't think there would be any person who would disagree. So the first response is, okay, you're so smart, you tell us what works. Well, really, the smarter you are, the less it works. So the less you know, the more chance you have of finding a way out. If you are not locked into an impossible condition that somebody has diagnosed for you, you will probably be okay. So the way out of that devastating set of circumstances is actually to go in deeper and find out that you can only get out of there if you decide to rely on miracles. Because unbeknown to you, a miracle is anything that goes against the formulation of what has already happened to you. The fact that it is wrong never comes into play. Even if you prove that it's wrong, in proving that, you are maintaining the whole circumstance. So if you've determined that there's something wrong with you, the solution is stop it. Don't even try to go there. Look at the diagnosis and say, well, that's interesting, but that's not me. That's somebody else. That's really a diagnosis of the fictitious being called human. It is not you. And so at any point you can say, all right, I'll handle this. And you've just made a big mistake. Because you are handling something that's not real. If you sit quietly for about 2 seconds and go and connect with your surroundings and find the beauty of those surroundings that is not even in the fixed parts of your world, you can reach out further until you feel your own environment. As soon as you start to feel your own environment, you'll feel it. It's either sticky, or it's ugly, or it's heavy, or it's on top of you. And the moment you decide to go and find the actual environment, all that will change instantly. Because you just push that fraction further, and I'm talking about a couple of seconds. Push that fraction further and you'll feel it all change into a beautiful space. As soon as your environment changes into a beautiful space, so does your body. It's like comparing yourself to a child. As soon as you can get into that space, you're not affected by all the stuff that you don't know about when you're a child. What can be projected onto a child is totally different to what the child knows. What can be projected onto you is totally different to what you know. The more I go over it, the more confused your brain will be. And that's the purpose. Because the brain is there for a different reason. It is there to support the mechanism of your body. Not for you to use. You're a separate entity. It's like getting into your car and pulling the wires out from underneath the dash and saying, well, now I wonder where they went. And the car doesn't go anymore. And you have to get an expert who says, who did that? And you say, I don't know. And you spend your life attempting to tell everybody you didn't pull the wires out. And this is what happens to your whole being. And if the instant you find you made a mistake and pulled all the wires out, you say, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't need it fixed. I'll just have to have a new car. The car will fix itself. There's the miracle. The car is the body. The instant you say, I don't know what I'm talking about, I don't know what I'm doing, I think I must have pulled the wires out and I've hooked them all back the wrong way, it's gone crazy, sit back and say, well, it'll either have to fix itself real quick or I've got to get another one. It will fix itself. By whatever means it needs. And it's not a long process. It's almost instantaneous. It has to be, because you make mistakes every day. And it recovers every day. And the reason you make mistakes is because you like the feeling of the recovery. And the greater the mistake, the greater the recovery, the bigger the smile on your face. When it gets past the point of no return, as you think, you go into panic mode and you start to shut yourself down. Worst thing you can ever do is to shut yourself down, because you provide all the nourishment for your body. A simple dance for a few moments will bring recovery that no one can imagine. Even if you cannot get out of bed, a simple dance will get you out of bed. All the defined diseases mean nothing. All the defined solutions mean nothing. And the medical systems of the world are based on chemistry. And it works. But nowhere near as fast as your body. The second you touch a lemon or something sour, you feel the saliva and the taste in your mouth change immediately. The chemistry of that can be measured, but it takes weeks to carry out the analysis that took you less than a fraction of a second to achieve. If you get frightened by something in the night, the energy that comes from you will knock over an elephant. And you don't realize, because you say, "Oh, I got frightened." No, you went into sudden defense mode to protect everything that's around you, with a power that's enormous, that can heal you and everyone around you in a fraction of a second. And so we've defined various things to suppress them. But if a child falls and they're within the reach of anyone, the response is so fast that they're either caught in midair or they bounce. They're the things we're saying are available to you. They're the things that are real, not the chemical analysis of something that is easy for you, not the addition of something that you can change in a second, either within your body or as a result of your touch. Because something has an expiry date on it, you feel that that's really important. But if you pick it up, you'll find it expired months ago. You pick up something else and you'll find it's perfect. Your touch, your awareness, your knowing came before all the chemistry and all the mathematics. So all the questions about what do I do, the answer is stop it. Just live the perfection of life that was given to you that you forgot about. What we have to say is not important, but what we transmit will stay with you forever. And it seems like it's nothing. But it is that very essence that holds everything around you in good condition. It is like the water in the fish bowl. If the water's clean, the fish are fine. If the water's dirty, the fish die. If everything around you is clean, you're okay. If it's dirty, you die. And the only one that can make it dirty is you. The only one that can make it clean is me. So look towards the special feelings that surround you, and you will immediately find it's clean. Look towards not what you need, but what feels exactly right. And you don't even need to read all the labels. You don't need to know from somebody else's data bank. The world and the universe feeds continuously into your field and compensates on a moment-to-moment basis for everything. How many times have you held a flower and felt it come alive? How many times did you ever bother to hold your vegetables and let them come alive? Even the beef and the chicken that you eat will put off a scent of acceptance if you ask it to. Because all the laws and the rules associated with what you do and how you do it have nothing to do with the reality of the fact that you're a human being with capabilities that are totally unique to you. The person that sits next to you and experiences what you think is exactly the same will not get the same feeling. You've seen it by going to a movie. Two people rarely have the same vision of the movie. So how do you think it is when I talk? No one has the same vision, but they're all correct. So now we move further and wonder why the initial discussion that was ever had is about the magic of life. Because the magic of life has no definition. It's endless, and it has 1,000,001 stories. And in that magic, there are stories of magic, there are stories of disaster, there are stories of hardship, and there are stories of everything you can think of. But there's always the magic at the start and the magic at the end. For many years, we will focus on the development of the magic of life so that you can see the continuing mystery and how you can never, ever get to the point of understanding. To know how something works does not solve anything. To not know how it works allows you to solve everything. Because if you know how it works, you will never try the things that could possibly be a miracle or a totally abnormal result to something that you know all about. So if you know something's going to fall on the floor, you will try to carry it. You won't push it down and watch it bounce up. The very things that you're taught are there to restrict the possibilities of the impossible. The more we talk to the world, the more we are able to integrate the special energies that divert the characteristics of everything from how they've been stated to how you want them to be. Because even a bit of metal has to be strong at some time, but there are times when you want it to be flexible, where you don't want it to disturb your life. And so it's possible to actually have a metal object become flexible. And many people have proven that by bending spoons. But we're talking more than that. We're talking about whole parts of your life being a different format for you. Just like the movie is different for you than it is from the person next to you. The reality is not a result of analysis. The reality is an instantaneous moment that impresses you and stays with you for the rest of your life. In developing a pattern for the future, we have worked with many variables so that we're able to demonstrate that there are no patterns. That's sufficient to bypass the logical sequence that's been fed into your brain. The devastating result of logic, unless it is applied to mechanical items, is enormous. If you applied logic to the movement of your hand, it will only work for a week. After that, it will stop working. It will seize up because it depends on the total harmonious movement of so many items that if you continue to do everything in the same pattern, it will stop working. the experiences in your world and in your life must surpass all logical analysis. The scientists amongst you will say that's impossible. But everything that science has developed is based on an assumed set of circumstances. If you go back far enough about anything that's been stated in science, technology, or otherwise, it starts with, under such and such circumstances, this will happen. And the more educated you become, the more you forget about the circumstances. And therefore you believe, and you don't actually attempt to change anything. The world of magic and miracles is a world of change. And that change is developed not by you, not by anything you'll ever know, but by the mystery and the magic of life. Just like the growth pattern of one leaf on a tree or on a flower that's in a vase. There is no way on Earth or anywhere else that you can predict either of those things. So how is it that in your educated mode, you believe you can predict what's going to happen because something is wrong? Now, we'll reveal the fact that there are those who can predict. But it's based on what you're transmitting to them. Because the only one that knows is you. If we look a little further and even use logic, if you're the only one that knows, you either caused it or you failed to divert it. And so when it becomes a problem in your life, you give the problem to someone else. And then you can never fix it. But if you accept it as your problem, you can then decide, oh, well, it's not a problem, it's just another circumstance. And it changes immediately. Many of you have seen the most devastating effects on human body turn around without reason. Sometimes from a shock, other times from determination, and other times without any knowledge at all. If it can happen once, it can happen every time. Where we are going is to that place where such a thing as a problem is never ever part of our reality. Something that doesn't suit you means you have to change not what's happening, but how you're seeing it. So you can have a really bad time at a movie that you decide is no good. Or you can have a really good time because you're at the movies. Nothing has changed except not even what you think, but how you hold your environment for you. So the tension in your body or in your thoughts or in your mind is actually easy to find. You can actually put your hand up and trace around and go, oh, there it is there. And just move it a little bit and it's gone. And there can be in any dimension. It can be 2 feet away. It can be 1,000 miles away. It can be part of the interaction with someone else's field, or it can be just your own simple neglect of holding something before you ate it. The practices that we have do not even relate to health. The practices we have relate to habit. And so each time you go to touch something or look at something, there's a recording starts to play in your mind. And that recording says, I have to do this, I have to do that, I've got to watch this, it's going to take this long, I've got to stand like this. And you have this millions and millions of things programmed in there, all useless. So the purpose of us sending the energies that support you through your day are to melt away all the useless chatter that takes up all your day. All the work you have to do to relax. That is amazing. You all hear that and go, yeah. Work to relax. Totally back to front. Totally opposites. You can't relax if you're working. But you can be relaxed while you're working. And you don't do anything to relax, you just relax. All these things that you keep repeating to program a world that is uselessly turmoil can easily be stopped. And it's stopped by reaching past everything and feeling what's in the field around you. The further you reach, the calmer you become. The further you reach beyond the field that you are playing with, beyond the rules and regulations that pound you every minute, the easier it is to settle everything. If we leave that for a moment and look at everybody's working day, you can see that you push one another to maintain a pattern that's useless to everyone. You even pay one another to maintain that pattern, to produce lots and lots of paperwork and reports that we do in an instant. And it's not memory. The second you want an answer, it's there. Why do you have to do all this work to record it? What we owe one another is very clear. It's never been lost on anybody. We all know, because we are very special beings. that know all these things. And by keeping a record, all it does is invites the other person to try and prove you wrong. But when we all get to the point of not even understanding, but of accepting the fact that we all know what we owe one another, we all know what's fair, we all know how we should be treated, and we never have to look it up, then we will have a great life, and our interactions will be much easier, and the world of magic and miracles will guide us every step of the way. Now that we're in a position to see that most of the things we've been doing cause us to do the same thing again, we should be able to see that we've not made one step towards advancement for many hundreds of years. All we've done is applied many of the physical applications that have been given to us, but never have we stepped past them, except when we've decided to live with the trees, go to the beach, and generally enjoy our life. That is the way to advance. It's not by study, it's not by knowledge. It's by exposure to everything that's so beautiful that you cannot deny it and you cannot explain it. Exposure, moment to moment, is where we're about to take you. And we will expose you to both sides, and then as soon as you can smile, we'll take away all the stuff that is useless, and you won't be able to find it. So it's a bit of a game to make sure that all the seriousness just disappears from your reach. It's a little bit like changing the attention of a child while you take something dangerous out of their field. Everything that you've been playing with in your field is dangerous. Everything you can blame somebody else for is actually dangerous, because then you've given it to them. Even if you watch an ad and you say, oh, they're trying to get us to do such and such a game, you've just given them, that you don't know, your life. Instead of looking at it, having no comment, and letting it disappear, just like you do if you don't want to see smoke. You wait for it to go. Yeah, there's smoke there. And when it's gone, you can see everything again. In life, there are many disturbances, and they'll continue to be there. But that's the variety of life. And taken without analysis or consideration or criticism becomes an exciting part of your world. If you're sailing a boat and it almost tips over, and you work really hard and skillfully and you bring it back up and you achieve what you were after, you're thrilled. other areas in life, you treat it the opposite. So we're about to remove all that. And as we keep talking about what comes next, you'll find that we're talking about what's already gone. So in listening, you'll start to relax. And you'll see that the more exposed you are to the things that you really don't understand, the more comfortable you are. So the mystery of life is what drives your engine. The mystery of the music that you cannot capture. The mystery of the colours that float around and brighten your world that you cannot describe. That is the potential of humanity, and that is the driving force behind everything around you. So now, if we just leave it at that and have no consideration at all of anything, unless we have some special feeling that we know from somewhere else, then we're going to have a very easy life. If you touch something and you say, that's not for me, that's it. If you're attracted to something, you go, I'm attracted to that, that's it. You don't even have to say, I don't know why. It's understood. So as we talk, we will change your vibration in various areas. And it'll be strong sometimes and weak other times. It'll be gentle and it'll be firm. It'll be with you, it'll be against you. And in the end, you'll enjoy the lullaby. So thank you. I look forward to talking to you again very, very soon. Enjoy your day and love one another as you have never loved before. Thank you. I am Simmion.